The ability to speak might not make you intelligent, but we're going to try to prove otherwise. This is the Clashing Sabers podcast. I am one of your hosts, Brandon. And if you are with us on YouTube, you can see we have a full crew tonight. Of course, I have my steadfast confidant, my partner in crime, the man who always wants to go back to Jakku for some reason. It's
Devore.
And we have our third member of our team here. As I said, we've got a full crew tonight. The boys are back in town. You might not recognize our third host because of his red arm, but it's
Drew. It's good to be back.
What is going on, guys? It has been months since the three of us have been on a show together. So good to have the whole crew back together once again. I'm excited about this episode. This is our first episode of 2026. So happy New Year to everybody. Hope you enjoyed celebrating and had a good time. We're recording this on the first of the year, so hopefully everybody had a good time on New Year's Eve. And we thought it would be a good time to kind of look back at last year, see how things went, review not every single thing that came out, but kind of review things in categories, and then look ahead to 2026 because it's going to be a big year for Star Wars. Really big year for Star Wars. So looking forward to talking about all of that stuff. But before we do that, we do ask that if you're listening here, whether you're on YouTube or iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen, make sure you give us a rating and review so more people can find us and see Megashow episodes like this one when we have the whole team back together, but also all the content that we're putting out across all platforms, whether it's YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. But even more importantly than that, if you don't want to take the time to do that, take the time to go over to clashingsabers.net and nominate a teacher for us to send books to. As you can see behind Drew, we've got a lot of Star Wars books. Devore's other recording studio, we've seen the books that he has. I've got a ton of Star Wars books has influenced us all, and we want to use it to influence the next generation. We can only do that when you guys go nominate a teacher for that. So please take the time. Those links will be in the show notes for you. While you're listening to this episode, just go, it takes a couple clicks, a couple forms, or not even a couple forms, just a single form with a couple questions, and then we do the rest of the work for you. So that's literally all you have to do is just give us the contact information, and we'll send said teacher books. So no prerequisite of loving Star Wars or anything of that nature. So with that in mind, Drew, I did want to ask you, since you haven't been on the show in a hot second, Devore and I, of course, always talking about Star Wars books because we're always reading and or listening to the books. Have you had a chance to delve into any Star Wars books recently, whether audio or, reading?
Yeah, I have been trying to get into some of the audiobooks because I'm just not going to get around to reading some of the other ones that I know I have on my list to get through. Mm-hmm. For example, it took me about 2 or 3 weeks to finally figure out the right way to do it, but I got a hold of the Black Fleet Crisis trilogy audiobooks through Spotify, I think. And, it's not great. The issue I found is that they're only the abridged ones, or mainly the abridged ones are available for like kind of like the Legends in the 90s series. And I started keeping track of all kinds of different things I could find for different ones that were available on Spotify and through other services and whatnot. There seems to be no one that jumps out as my particular favorite, though Spotify had, because I could listen to all 3 books in the Black Fleet Crisis in about 9 hours, that was hard to beat. So we did that, and I don't know if you guys have a ton of experience with abridged books on audios like that, but I can't tell if I was missing out so much because of the abridgment, or if they just really were written that way, where they don't have a lot of connectivity between different elements of the stories. So maybe not my preferred way of really diving into a thing, but if you just want to know the facts of what happened, then perhaps the abridged is a perfectly acceptable way to go. My next one to test is I'm going to go back and do the abridged I, Jedi, because I remember loving that book. And we're going to see how it holds up in an audio and abridged format at the same time. We'll find out. More to be reported back to soon, I hope. Ish.
Because if I recall, that one was the one that's written from a first-person point of view, right? It's one of the only Legends book, or the only Legends book to be written from that perspective.
I don't know that it's the only one, but I believe it's the first. I think there was another one that came out later in the chronology, but I don't want to go out there and make up too much information. I'll make up just enough information, but I don't want to get crazy. I did also buy a copy. It's a little embarrassing of Crucible, which is a Star Wars book. It's the last one that takes place in the Legends timeline, minus the comic series that takes place like 150 years in the future. I don't remember it being good, but I didn't have a copy of it, and I kind of needed to round it out. I don't know if I'll get around to reading it, but it's going to sit on my shelf, and that's kind of nice to know. I've got the bookends there. I've got everything from the, what's it called? What's the Dawn of the Jedi. That's the one that's like 10,000 years beforehand or something like that.
Yeah, that Devore hates.
Yeah. Having post-traumatic stress right now.
Post-traumatic stress from friggin'
from Into the Void.
I remember liking it.
I enjoyed it.
Did you really? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember why. It was so long ago, but I remember not, having any problem with the book itself.
That's about my particular feelings on it. So I wonder if going back to that now would change that. So I've got kind of the beginning and the end of it, of the series, which is nice, and then filling in some of these blanks along the way. Like, I've had the Black Fleet Crisis for a while, but I've never read it. It's just been on my shelf. Several other ones like that I've just never actually gotten around to reading. So might use this abridged format in order to catch back up on things. But I have, now that and we'll talk, I'm sure, about the High Republic more in a bit. I have gotten my hands on what is this one? Tales of Enlightenment, I think is a short story compilation.
Yeah.
I've got that to read, and I finished Tempest Breaker. I finished that one not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't remember loving that.
I liked it in parts. I think 80% of it was really pretty good. I think Keeve Trennis as a character has gotten on my nerves to the last bit, and I don't really need to deal with Keeve anymore.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I like the story. I like that it filled in the gaps that I wasn't really super confident on going into Trials. Is it Trials? Trials of the Jedi?
Yeah, Trials of the Jedi, yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
What is it? It's like verb, noun, or whatever.
Blank of the blank.
Yeah. Yeah, blank of the blank. Well, so you got like a 70% chance. Yep.
Trials of the Jedi, Tears of the Nameless, Eye of Darkness. Like, okay, guys.
Yeah, you had a 70% chance of getting it right.
Right?
One way or another. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I have not read Tempest Runner, which is the first audio drama script in the High Republic series, but based on you guys' reactions of it, I'm not even sure I'm going to put the time into it. Because I know you guys, nobody really liked the first one.
Yeah,
I didn't love it.
Yeah, no.
But I think that's kind of been it. That's kind of life on this side of the highway, as it were. What about you guys? What's been doing exciting in your Star Warsian journeys?
Devore, you want to go and talk about what you've been Star Warsing?
Yeah, I mean, not a lot lately. Like, I haven't been doing much reading now that we've kind of been in this sort of holiday break period. I guess most recent thing probably was we did do a rewatch of The Force Awakens for the anniversary.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I haven't gotten around to doing a rewatch of that one in a little bit. I definitely watched it, in 2025 at least once. Just because, like, I don't know. Drew, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to our Force Awakens review, but I was talking about when we were at Celebration and watching it. Your kids picked out Force Awakens, and that was kind of like the moment I realized, like, oh, this is the one of the sequel trilogy that holds up the best.
Absolutely. It's definitely the strongest of the three, I think. It's definitely the one I would go and put back on if I was going to put one of them back on just to have on.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. So,
it really is.
For me, I guess since the ball is going to kind of get rolling on this tomorrow, I can make an announcement that I don't even think I've told you guys. I am helping to write a book about Star Wars.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, so if you guys who are listening remember, a while back we had Ken Martin on the episode, and we talked about his book, The Jedi Way, which is about applying Jedi principles to everyday life. Well, we are combining to do a volume 2 that's going to be brought to you by Clashing Sabers.
Holy cow.
So we're actually having our first meeting tomorrow. We had some scheduling conflicts over the break, but my part in particular is going to be bringing in like some High Republic elements and things from the book side of the galaxy far, far away. So really excited about that. That's going to be kind of a major project going on this year in 2026 as we kind of look ahead. So really excited about that. Star Warsing that, just thinking about that a lot. And then just trying to continue delving into some of you may know I won Teacher of the Year this year for my campus, and so I've got to do some essays basically for the District Teacher of the Year. Well, of course, if I'm going to write something, I'm going to include Star Wars. So I've been Star Warsing a lot of some Last Jedi quotes and just kind of how those apply to life, like really centering around the greatest teacher failure is, and they are what we grow beyond. That's the burden of all masters. So really, it's just been kind of basking in Star Wars and pulling in it into different aspects of what I've got going on in life. But yeah, really excited about our Jedi Way book that we're gonna really get into motion tomorrow, and then hopefully get done by the end of the summer or end of 2026 to have available for you guys. So of course I'll have all of that stuff for you guys in the podcast. So make sure you're subscribed.
Dude, that is amazing. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited. So it's kind of been a goal of mine to write a book at some point. And I'm not much of a fiction writer myself. So this is kind of right up my alley. And I've got Ken to kind of be the Jedi Master guiding the way of like how to go through the process of putting together a book, because he's done a couple and stuff like that. So
that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it'll be award-winning educator and soon-to-be published author. I mean,
you know
there
what?
You go.
That's
things
incredible,
are coming up,
man.
Brandon.
Things are coming. It's 20. I texted Zach the other day. I was like, "Man, this is going to be our year. It's going to be the year of Clashing Sabers. We're going to do it." So make sure you guys are tuned in, because, of course, you know, we always have the nonprofit going on, and really want to try to use this platform to give more than we take. So hopefully you guys will go along that journey with us. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get on the journey of this episode, because we kind of talked about it. This is going to be a mega episode. No idea how long this one's going to go. We're just going to, we kind of were talking about having an episode about 2025 and then a different episode about 2026. And we just decided, let's just put it all together. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to look at 2025. This is not like a best and butts or anything like that. Devore was gracious enough to put together a list for us of everything that's happened this year and things that are happening next year. So we got it kind of broken into movies, shows, books, comics, and events. And so we'll look at those for each. So starting off in 2025 with all the movies that came out.
And moving on.
Yeah. Okay. So no Star Wars movies in 2025.
Well, did we get like confirmation of cancellations of any kind? I can't remember if like this was the year they were like, yeah, Rian Johnson's really not doing anything, and Patty Jenkins
they do
really
a lot of
anywhere.
confirmations of cancellations. Like the
really?
Acolyte in a way kind of stands out in that way, where they actually like came out and said like, this is not like, no more of this is happening. Things just usually kind of just die.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
that's super great. Yep.
I think it was Rian Johnson, if I recall correctly, who basically said like, yeah, I don't think that the Star Wars thing is happening. We did not get the cancellation of Starfighter. So there's that. That apparently is still a thing that's going to happen. So
this is the one that had like the pictures of, is it? Oh, I can't remember his name. Who's the
Ryan
actor in this
Gosling.
one?
Ryan Gosling. Yeah.
Unbelievable. To be in a Star Wars movie, but okay, sure.
Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling. If that doesn't get you to a movie theater, I don't know what will, guys.
Hey, just as long as the tickets are real and you can buy them at some point, then I'm on board.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, forget if the movie's real. We just need the tickets to be real. We could just be like,
honestly, that would make Disney happier, probably.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, we'll Mandela affect it. We'll just be like, look, guys, we all have the tickets. We must have seen this movie.
It must be a real thing.
So we'll go ahead and move on to shows then. And the shows that we had come out this year, we had Skeleton Crew, which kind of wrapped up in 2025. We had season 2 of Andor, which wrapped up the series. Tales of the Underworld came out. We had Visions Volume 3, Young Jedi Adventure Season 2 and 3, and then Rebuild the Galaxy Pieces of the Past. So starting with the big question, which of those was y'all's favorite?
Oh, it has to be Andor, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
easy.
Yeah,
one.
100%.
That's
yeah.
an easy one.
As good as Skeleton Crew was, Andor was on another level.
Yeah. I confess I have not even finished all of Vision Season 3 yet.
Oh.
I know.
Drew,
I
come
know.
on.
Is it not doing it for you? Is it not what you want it to be? Or is it a timing thing?
Well, it's a little bit. It certainly does deal with the timing issue. These are a lot longer than they were in the past. These ones are mostly average between like 18 and 20 minutes a piece, which is a little bit harder to sit down and watch 3 or 4 of them, especially when they're so different from each other.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the list of them now. I have watched the first 1, 2, 3, and then I skipped to number 6, and that's been it. That's what I've been up. So that's the Duel Payback, which I had to watch that one first. And it was fine. Actually, I only skipped.
It was definitely a thing that happened.
It was and it was good. It wasn't bad. Let's be clear. I watched the Ninth Jedi, Child of Hope, which I'm not sure I understand what happened there. And then I watched The Lost Ones, which is the sequel to The Village Bride, and I do not understand how we went from The Village Bride to this one.
Yeah.
There's more digging into things that needs to be done, because there's like The Village Bride, and then there's like a whole bunch of things, and then way down there was The Lost One somewhere, and I don't know what happened. But there's still a lot more I have to go through and watch. So maybe it's me, and that's perfectly reasonable.
I enjoyed
there.
The Lost Ones quite a bit. I think.
Did you?
Devore, was that 1 or 2 on my list?
That was your number 1.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's what I thought. Yeah. It and the Ninth Jedi sequel were kind of my. But I think that was a matter of like, there's something to the familiarity of the characters, even though the stories aren't necessarily connected, to where it's like you already kind of give them a little bit of grace in that aspect.
Sure. I struggled with the artistry on that one. Like, just the visually, it's so very different.
Yeah, I can understand.
Yeah.
I just don't know. I loved the Village Bride for just like all those little small details. We've talked about the Jedi heels, as it were. And there's just nothing quite like that. There's nothing that has that particular level of care and detail. And again, having watched it once in the midst of a very hectic season, maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset for it. So I will go back and watch it, but I mean, there's no way Andor is not the best thing that came out on the small screen this particular year.
I mean, is it the best thing that came out all year is the question.
Dude, like, it's possibly the best thing that's come out in several years. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Since like season 1 of Andor, like
yeah.
It's hard to beat that. Like,
it's really hard to beat that. I mean, I think Skeleton Crew deserves a lot more accolades than it gets.
100%. Yeah.
It is a phenomenal show. It hits on kind of every level. It's not even comparing like anything to Andor, like to sports analogy. It's not like is LeBron or Michael Jordan better thing. It's like, is like Spud Webb or Michael Jordan better? It's like, no, Michael Jordan is way better. It's like a few people got that. Yeah, a few people got that. But it's like somebody who has accomplished, a couple cool things, versus somebody who has accomplished everything that is possible, right? And that's kind of what happened. Now, there's a lot that I think goes into that, because we have the Rogue One addition to it. We have season 1 of Andor that feeds into it. All of those things that kind of give it the advantage, as far as Andor season 2 is concerned. But I mean, Skeleton Crew kind of started us off the year in the right way, and Andor just picked up the ball and it ran with it, and then like
just ran with it. Yeah.
It did. And what I think is really kind of impressive to me when I look at this list is none of these were bad. Like Skeleton Crew is great. Andor's phenomenal. Tales of the Underworld was very good. You know, like
Sure.
nothing wrong with it. It didn't blow anybody's mind, but it didn't do anything to like, you know, put it into the fire and never look at it again.
Right. It didn't try to like
Yeah.
rewrite things, did it? Like, because I think that was part of the problem with one of the Tales of the Jedi series was how it tried to rewrite certain characters' histories.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it gave some cool backstory. The stories were well done, all of that stuff.
And these
Visions
are shorts,
Volume
right?
3. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Visions Volume 3 I think was, we kind of talked about this on our review of it. It was serviceable. It didn't do anything other than Black being just really confusing and not enjoyable for me in particular. Like, it was fine. Drew, you'll understand that a little more when you get
I can't wait to
the...
get Drew's take. I've been like, waiting for Drew's take on Black.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're either gonna think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in Star Wars, or you're gonna just text WTF to the group chat.
That's 100. Those are the only two reactions he will have. It will either be like as good as Ronin, or it will be like send it to the 10th circle of hell.
Oh,
like, those are the only two reactions
could
he'll have
anything
to Black.
Could anything be as good as Ronin? Where was I when we were talking about Ronin last? So let's pick up.
I think we were on page 2.
You're still on page 2, yeah.
I think that's about as far as I read in that book, or as far as I understood what I was reading in that book.
Well, there's that.
I don't know if you guys have watched any of the Young Jedi Adventures. They're fun. They're really fun shows. I have a good time, you know, with them. And then Rebuild the Galaxy: Pieces of the Past was great.
It's amazingly good. It does not deserve the right to be that good.
So, a lot of great stuff. So, what do you think? Like, have they figured out Star Wars TV now? Like, do you think that they have figured out? Because, you know, with the Acolyte, we had a lot of problems. We had problems with some of the stuff. You know, you guys had problems with Ahsoka Season 1. Like, there's been a lot of consternation around Star Wars TV. And then this year, I mean, there's not really a lot of people crapping on any of this stuff, you know? Like, you know, the Stranger Things finale just came out, and I opened my Instagram, and it's automatically just people just not liking the last season. Personally, strongly disagree with that. But this is not a Stranger Things podcast. But, like, the internet is a place where people go to automatically start, you know, complaining and critiquing and, you know, arguing about things that they don't like. And, you know, we do that here at times too. So, like, not calling anybody out, but like to know that we get this to this point where Star Wars TV now, we don't have a lot of people complaining about it. We have Skeleton Crew. People are saying, you know, give us a season 2. Andor season 2, people are saying is the best Star Wars to come out. You know, all of these accolades for it. So, Devor, starting with you, man, do you think they figured out how to make Star Wars TV?
It's interesting to be asking that question, given that Star Wars TV is right now in kind of a twilight, you know?
Yeah.
Because we got, you know, we'll talk about this in 2026, right? We have Maul Shadow Lord coming out. We know Ahsoka 2 is out there. It may come out in 2026. It may not. We don't have an official confirmation of, you know, is it next year? What is it not? But we know it's been shot. We will get it at some point, even if it's not 2026. And then beyond that, it's like, will Mando return for a season 4? Maybe, maybe not. We have not had a new show. Skeleton Crew was the last non-sequel live action Star Wars show announced.
Wow.
There has not been one since. Right. Everything else has been announced has been a season 2 or whatever of a show that already exists. So it seems like the live action TV era is kind of sort of over. And I mean, like, you know, there's been, it's not just sort of Star Wars. I think, you know, there's been a general Disney shift. Like, you look at Marvel, its output has been lower. Lucas, like, there has been this sort of shift now that, you know, that movies sort of got profitable again in the kind of post-COVID years, that they've kind of moved in that direction. So I think we're not going to see Star Wars TV like disappear entirely. I don't think so. Like, we, you know, I think we will get, you know, we will get some animated things, you know, like your Maul show that we're getting. We may get more Visions. Young Jedi Adventures is now wrapped up, but they will probably do other things that are sort of kid oriented. We'll get the Lego specials and things like that. But I don't know that this is very clearly not a priority space for them anymore. Just because, like, I think a lot of the fundamentals around streaming have changed in the sense that there's now a realization that they're kind of a money pit. And now it's like, yeah, you do your movie with Sean Levy and you'll rake in a cool $1 billion. Like Deadpool and Wolverine, right? It's like pots of money. And so it's like that's now I think where a lot of the attention seems to be more directed. So it's because in a way, like you're right. Like I think in 2025 we did see a string of good hits, but it's like it's so sort of like almost like the farewell tour of the band a little bit. Like you got in your stride and now it's coming to an end.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's like it's good, I guess, in a sense, because like at least we're gonna kind of more or less end Star Wars major TV installments on a high note. Like hopefully Ahsoka season 2 will land, especially if that's the last live action Star Wars show that we get for a significant time, to kind of encourage people when the next one comes out, or whenever they figure out how to make money off of the streaming TV or whatever, that will get people excited about that. But I do feel like it's kind of sad that like we get this great stuff they finally figure out, and then Devore, you're right, they kind of it's the swan song. Drew, where do you kind of land on where they're at with Star Wars TV?
Yeah, to me, it seems like what we could really ask for is just a little bit more predictability in the timing, right? I just was doing a quick Google search because, like Devore said, Skeleton Crew was the last announced non-sequel live-action series, which is a mouthful to say. It was first announced in May of 22. So it took 3 years to get from where they told us it was coming to when it was actually completed and available. I just feel like that's so long. And maybe the mindset of serialized television on like the cable networks is probably not the best model to rely on, but you knew when new shows started. You knew when season finales were coming. Yep. So you had at least this awareness of the season to look forward to new things. But the way Star Wars announces it is just kind of randomly on a Tuesday morning now. You'll be flipping through TikTok and you'll see an advertisement for the fourth and final season of the Young Jedi Adventures, and that's it. Like, I don't really know how else we get news disseminated to us for this kind of thing, but we got to figure something out, because without any kind of announcements or understanding of what to expect going forward, there's no reason to think there's something going forward. So I'd hate to say that it's at the twilight or the end, or they figured it out, because we know that, talking about 26, the couple things that are coming out doesn't stack up quantity-wise to 25. The best hope we can have is that it stacks up in quality-wise, at least. So I'd like to see, just a slightly more predictable thing. Maybe they're too costly to do them that fast, but like Brandon, when you're talking about Tales of the Underwood, it's that same kind of animation studio and style that Clone Wars have been doing since 2008. Yeah. So for a long time, and they get a second set that's supposed to come out in 26, I think. Or there's a Tales of Underworld Volume 2 or something coming? Did I imagine that?
Is there? No, I'm assuming there'll be some kind of Tales of that they just haven't announced yet. There's some kind of
Tales of... I don't know, because like it had more Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. I thought that was the Underworld series, but again...
Yes.
You can't look at a thing and know anymore what it's actually talking about, whether it's new or it's 5 years old. So the really lackluster communication is kind of what stands out to me, the difference between 24, 25, 26. When Andor was first announced, it was expected to be a 5-year series, and they condensed season 2 because Diego Luna would have aged 10 years by the time it was done. So that was a great decision. Where's that kind of transparency with these other things? Maybe, I don't know if they just got the heartbreak from the Acolyte having such a poor reaction and reception, but that was well deserved too. Was the problem?
Yeah, and I think to me it's something that like Zach and I talk about this on Sith Talks a lot. Is like Disney continues to learn the wrong lessons. with these things. You know, like with the Acolyte, they're like, oh, well, Star Wars TV doesn't work. And it's like, no, like, it's bad Star Wars TV doesn't work. Bad writing doesn't work. Bad set design doesn't work. You know, all of those things, right? Bad marketing doesn't work. All of those things, you know? And you look at, you know, things like Skeleton Crew and things like Andor, and you're like, it can work when you put people in positions that they can be successful. And look, I have said my piece on the Acolyte time and again, but I think one of the things that continues to come out that is like consistently reported is Leslie Headland's vision of what the Acolyte was supposed to be got changed by the higher ups. Right?
Man.
So the extent to which that is true is kind of irrelevant to what I'm about to say. But like, if we accept that to some extent that is true, versus things like Skeleton Crew, things like Andor, where the creators got to have their vision be what it was designed to be, it kind of it points to a particular end point, which is let people make and put people in positions to make the Star Wars that they want to make. They had for so long made rushed decisions on who those people were going to be, right? So now they're shifting those people to the Sean Levy's of the world and things of that nature. You know, and I look at the marketing of Stranger Things, for example, like this final season. Like, this is wild to me. All right, so next Monday night for Monday Night Raw for professional wrestling is Stranger Things night. After the finale has already come out, you're somehow having wrestling. It's freaking hilarious, right? But the marketing has been so good that I'm like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to watch that, and I'm going to be there on time because it's Stranger Things. You know?
There's like a whole aisle of Target in our Target that's just Stranger Things stuff.
Right. And that is not happening with Star Wars anymore. Now, I get there's the element of this is 10 years in the making. I get the element of like this is its own franchise. There's a lot of other factors, but I think the point stands that they are not putting the effort in to Star Wars TV to get the outcomes they want out of Star Wars TV. You know, and it's like an athlete at any level. If you don't put the work in to be successful, talent will only get you so far. You know, the name Star Wars will only get you so far. And the more you try to live off of that name alone, the more you devalue that name, right? Yeah. Because it means less and less off of the work. So that's what's frustrating to me about it. And I hope that, and I think that there will be more intentionality behind what they're doing in the future. And we'll look back at things like a Skeleton Crew, for example, and say like, you know, I'm really grateful that existed in the chaos that was, but I'm really glad for the world that we got in Star Wars TV now, where we have a more consistent release schedule, things like that. You know, because 3 years is a lot, you know? 3 years is a long time to wait for a show, especially when you have so many cancellations going on around it, and you're like, I don't even know if this show is going to happen.
Right.
To where when you actually get to that point, I remember, you know, we're sitting here talking about how great it was now. Think about what we were talking about at the end of last year of like, who even cares about Skeleton Crew? You know?
Yeah, we didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about it, and
yes,
we had no idea what to expect. I don't even know that there were trailers until like 6 weeks before it showed.
The marketing was terrible.
It was wild, and it's so frustrating to see like $300 million be put into these shows only to have no idea what it's about, no reason to get excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Skeleton Crew just fine, but one of the things that stands out to me is in like the behind the scenes conversations that they have from time to time, they talked about how each of the directors had to make sure they had the classic Star Wars hallway shot, you know, and we shoot things this particular way. It has to have a certain look and feel. And that's the kind of like bandages that hold people in to these old, I don't want to say outdated, but we've been here before, and this is your chance to really do something new, let new people's voices be heard. Don't hamstring them by saying this is the language you have to speak in. Like, I enjoyed Skeleton Crew. I couldn't really tell you much about it now, a year out from it. I don't remember where it takes place in the timeline. Um, I barely remembered what the resolution of the series is, other than the kids get home. I remember that. I think there was a giant trash crab at some point, some kind of giant lobster.
There was indeed a trash crab.
All right, cool. I didn't imagine that, some kind of fever dream. So it's just kind of things like that. It's like, where's the support for it? Is there,
Yeah.
It'd be great to understand if there was more to it than that, because it was a good story. It was a fun time. We looked forward to it every week, dropping a new episode. I mean, I know they can't all be Andors, but man, we can do a little.
No, and that's the thing. They don't all have to be Andors, and I think that they're expecting them all to be Andors, and again, like at the end of the day, it's a business decision. They're in a business. That's the hard part about art and business being, in bed together, is those two things have different goals, and one has to win out, I do think if we're talking about kind of where those two kind of merge well, and of course, like, we don't get numbers on this kind of like sales and stuff, but books, they seem to have really locked in on, especially in 2025. We got, Drew, I don't know if you kind of gave up on this, but we got Mask of Fear, The Reign of the Empire. We got Haunted Starlight, Into the Light, Wayseeker, Valiant Vow, Trials of the Jedi, Crystal Crown, Sanctuary, Jaws of Jakku, The Last Order, and Master of Evil. So
I have two questions. What is Haunted Starlight, and what is the Jaws of Jakku?
Devore, I'm going to let you take that one.
Yeah, so those two are the they call them, I think, Star Wars Adventures. So they're an Audible exclusive series that they're doing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they're they're basically like middle grade esque stories.
Okay.
That only exist in audio form, and more narrowly only exist on Audible.
Really? So it's locked behind a specific service provider too. Okay, guys, I'm not a marketing expert, but I feel like if more people can hear your thing, it's better for you overall. That's just me.
Yep.
Maybe it's not.
I don't like when they do these things. I think it's bad.
Yeah, it's not great. I haven't listened to those two. I'm working
and it's unfortunate
my way
because like they're good.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Like, all the ones that they've done in the Star Wars Adventure series are really good, but there's all the kind of friction to get to them.
How ethically dicey is it for you to play the audiobook like on a speaker and have your computer running like a transcription program on a different webpage? Is that something we could look into? Because I'm never going to listen to these.
Putting crimes right on the hot mic here.
I'm just asking.
Breaking IP law.
No.
He asked how ethical or it was.
I'm just curious. I don't know. I haven't had that class yet. I'm working on it.
That's year 2.
Yeah, this season is proper. I have my textbook for property, which is great. It's gonna be a long 10 weeks. So yeah, I don't know. Those are I bailed on I'm looking at the list that you guys texted as well, so that I don't have to keep remembering things. Yeah, Mask of Fear, I had to bail. I know, Devore, you've been a big fan of that one. Into the Light.
Yeah, we kind of got all three of those, like the range on those. Like, Drew hated it. I thought it was pretty good, and Devore loved it.
I didn't hate it. I just couldn't take it anymore.
Okay, let's talk about how those two things are different.
Okay. To hate something, you probably should have finished it. No, it just became a time sink for me. It was like 27 hours in audio, and I wasn't going to be able to read the actual book. I don't think I have the book. Do I? No, I don't. I will get around to it one day. Maybe. I hope. There's the sequel coming out next year, so Devore, you'll have to let us know if that one's just as good. Is it the second one by who's the author on the second one? I can't remember. Is it Ray Carson?
It is Rebecca Roanhorse.
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Okay, cool. Yeah, but out of the ones we got, I haven't read all of these. Has anybody read all of them?
I think only Devore. Yeah.
Wow. Yes. So out of those, was Mask of Fear still your favorite? That was like your favorite book of the year, wasn't it?
No, it was Master of Evil. It was the late entry, the last entry.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, Brandon, you had a strong bounce off of the Crystal Crown, didn't you?
I struggled to get through it. It was a perfectly fine book. It didn't do anything like, that I thought was terrible. It's not like a Battlefront 2, or not Battlefront 2, sorry. Battlefront 2 is amazing. The original Battlefront.
Twilight Company.
The Twilight Company, where I was like, that's just not well written. It's not like, I'm trying to think of what's one of the books that I just despised, like some of the Thrawn books. I'm looking at my books over here as I turn back of my head to the camera. It's not anything like that. It was very much like, all right, I guess we're telling this story. Whereas, like, here's the thing that again, there's things to critique about even things that you love,
sure,
right?
Of course.
And I've loved the way that they've handled Star Wars books overall. The Acolyte handling of Star Wars books, I don't think was great, because you tried to get us to spend more time with characters who were not engaging in the first place, right? So when I look at Wayseeker, for example, like that book, Drew, I don't know if you've gotten around to that book or whatever, but half of it kind of jumps back and forth chapter to chapter from Indara's point of view to Vernestra's point of view.
Oh, wow.
And the story kind of tells kind of in a As I Lay Dying kind of style. And so about half the book I liked, and about half the book I was like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing. And you can guess which half was which. Or you can go listen to Don't Burn the Sacred Text, and we talked about that on our most recent episode. But yeah, it just but then you do things like you releasing Mask of Fear right after Andor, and it's like, hell yeah, I want to spend more time with Mon Mothma. Like, so I think, look, the High Republic, they stuck the landing on that
100%.
Absolutely. And so
very satisfying.
Trials of the Jedi alone, and then I'm going to, give Master of Evil credit just because of how strongly DeVore feels about it, and I trust his opinion on that, and I've been pleased with what I've read of it so far. I think, Sanctuary did a really good job of bringing the Bad Batch characters from screen to page. Yep. So overall, if I'm grading the books this year, I think it's a solid B+. Because I think there are the problems of the Acolyte books that stand out, and then there is that problem, Drew, that you brought up of like putting stuff behind a particular paywall that limits access to it.
That's crazy.
Who's
that for?
It's for the Audible listeners. Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
So, DeVore, where do you come down on, like, if you were to grade Star Wars books this year, where would you land on that?
I think your B+ is, I think, a pretty fair grade. I think it's like, as you said, there was a lot of Star Wars books that came out this year, particularly when you look ahead to, we'll talk about 2026 and what publishing looks like. Like, there was a lot that came out this year, and of course, sort of the defining book thing being, the wrapping up of the High Republic. And I think that ending in really strong fashion, sort of across the media, like not just the books, but also, like, I think the comics also have a pretty strong finish to their respective stories and all of that. And then outside of that, I think, like, there are some, you talk about the Acolyte books, like, they're a little bit, like, they're kind of wonky. I thought Last Order, I thought was, like, fine, but nothing remarkable. But then we do have, some pretty strong entries out there, whether you're talking about Mask of Fear. I have to always in my brain, I want a portmanteau Mask of Fear and Master of Evil, and I want to be like Mask of Evil. Like, I keep, like, have to keep remember, like, again, blank of blank, and like Mask of Fear, Master of Evil.
Surely Mask of Evil has been a title, though, somewhere in Star Wars history,
it would be a great title,
right?
It'd be a great title for a Darth Vader book. I mean, like, the Mask of Evil is technically his helmet. Like, it works.
What is the Last Order? I don't remember that one either.
That's the Finn book that just recently came out.
Oh, okay.
Finn and Janna,
yes.
Right? From
that other movie?
Yeah, from the movie that definitely needed to kill off one of its main characters.
Wow.
Article coming soon.
Wow.
On
Spoilers.
how they mishandled one Ben Solo. But continue.
Okay. Shifting gears completely.
But yeah, like, that being said, I think between, again, like the strong way that the High Republic finished, and then I think some of these really, really strong non-High Republic entries, I think it's been a pretty good year for books.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, the way Phase 3 wrapped up has been so satisfying to watch. I do think it struggled almost as much as Phase 1 in the you have to do your homework and read everything in anticipation of the final entry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I remember starting Trials of the Jedi going, wait a minute, why is this particular character working with our heroes, and why is this particular person in jail?
Yeah.
And then I read the Tempest Breaker. Breaker?
Yeah, Breaker.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, Tempest Breaker.
Sorry, they're way up there. And I was like, oh, well, this explains a whole lot more. I really wish I had access to this before the final book came out. Why is it hard, guys? Why is it hard?
It's really not. It
Why
doesn't have to be hard.
It doesn't have to be this tough. You knew it was going to be important. So anyway, it doesn't matter. But even the comics ended at a certain point. Like, I don't think there's much in parallel to Trials of the Jedi that ran in the comic series. A little bit. But honestly, the comics ended, at least the mainline story. I know the Adventures story went in its own little direction. Which may be something I might consider picking up in the future if they release like an omnibus of all of it. So I can read all 3 phases of that. But man, watching them go from like Eye of Darkness to the Temptations of the Force and Trials into the Light, all of Phase 3 has been so solid. At least like kind of like those adult level novels have been so good and so satisfying, pushing the story forward, making it interesting, kind of surprising us at almost every turn, going, oh, this is not the way I thought this was going to go. It's very exciting. I was very, very pleased with it. Can't wait for these guys to get a second project just as epic in scope and scale, and I really hope that they announce that in 26.
That would be cool.
That would be the best thing.
I think that's something we got to wait for 27 celebration for.
Yeah.
But
that's the one you're going to be at for your panel, right? When you're talking about your book when it's released?
Probably, yeah. We're gonna work on that. Yeah.
Should probably write.
I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna be there. You better be there too. You all better be there.
This one
everybody listening better be there.
April 1st through 4th, I think, is what it is of 2027. Nope, I'll catch you guys to the next one. Put it in the summertime, baby.
In the summertime, yeah. So you guys kind of talked about comics a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump to the comics. Now, I've said before, I'm not a huge comics person. I do, have respect for the medium, just not my medium. So I'm going to defer to you guys, and Devore, you consume all of the comics as far as I understand. So tell us about Star Wars comics. How did they do this year or last year, I guess?
Yeah, yes. Oh gosh, it is. Yeah, 20. You got to write 26 on the checks.
The checks that you use to pay for things.
No, he was talking about the checks that Disney sends us to be shills. He was reminding them.
That's it.
Yeah, it's been a good year. It was a good year for Star Wars comics. Let's see some of the highlights. Legacy of Vader by Charles Soule, which is still technically ongoing. It will continue into 2026. Was really good. It's giving a great story of Kylo Ren in between The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, which I'd wanted for a long time. Thought it might be a book. Not mad that it's in a comic. So that's been a lot of fun. And again, Charles Soule is like one of those, like, they use him sparingly, but every time they bring him out, it's like you're gonna just get like A+ quality out of him. So that's been really good. Going back to High Republic, we talked about the comics a little bit. I gotta shout out the Edges of Balance, because that's just like that's one of my favorite little corners of the High Republic that doesn't get talked about a lot. That series was good. On the manga side, do not sleep on The Path of the Lightsaber. The first volume came out in October, November, something like that. It is a manga that's set in the sequel period. Really good. I blew through that. Like it's great storytelling. It's fun. It's really funny. So definitely check that out. Let me see what other good stuff has happened let's see. There was the Jedi Knight series, which I think was all right. I think like one issue to the next, it's sort of varied in terms of quality and whatnot, but a solid entry. The main line is bad. Like they just need to stop it if they're not going to like tell good stories. I do not care about anything that is happening in the main line. Yeah, it's still unfortunately ongoing.
Unfortunately ongoing.
Yes.
What makes it bad? Like what is it? Because I mean, if that's the wart, on everything.
I think it's probably a combination of two things. One is I don't think like the story itself I don't think is really interesting, like in terms of like what they're doing and like the stakes of it. It's just like I don't care about anything that's like happening here and like what the outcome is. Like I'm not invested. And I think the other thing is like I just for like I don't know what it is, but I think I have a hard time with Han, Luke, Leia stories. Like I'm just not as invested.
Okay.
And like outside of like the original trilogy, like the movies, of course, yes. But then when it's like whether you're talking about like in the comics or even like a lot of Legends books, obviously are big Han, Luke, Leia focus. I'm just like something like Shadow of the Sith. Like really enjoyed that. But otherwise, I'm like when I get the trio together and it's like not on screen, I'm like I don't like take it or leave it. I don't like that much. I don't know. I think that's very just personal in terms of like there are other people like they're like hell yeah, give me all that. Like that's why there's so many stories and legends about them. So,
well, I mean, there is, I think, a struggle of bringing characters from screen to page. I think that's a hard conversion to get right.
It is,
Yeah.
Lindsay and I talked about this a lot, especially like in the first like few Claudia Gray books with Leia, with Bloodline and Princess of Alderaan, of like that's what made Claudia Gray, like as much as Lost Stars made her like be recognized, like the thing for me that established her as like, oh, she can write whatever she wants in Star Wars was her writing Leia and being able to bring that character so cleanly from screen to page. It was like, okay, I trust her to do anything, right?
Like Han Solo is a much harder character to write than people think. Like the universe of people who think they can write Han Solo is much larger than people who can actually write Han Solo.
Right. Like, I mean, look at, Last Shot, for example. Like DJO he's a funny guy, like he has a good sense of humor and stuff like that, but like he's not able to get Han's humor right. Even Princess and the Scoundrel, Beth Revis, is good. She took Jyn Erso in Rebel Rising from screen to page very easily. Didn't 100% nail Han Solo in the scoundrel aspect of him, and so it's a hard, and I've talked about that with Legends books that I've read of how challenging it is to bring those characters. So I mean, I think, Devore, you're pointing towards kind of a larger problem of bringing these three characters that were, maybe it's the lightning in the bottle of it all, like just the way that they brought together Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, and it was like just the perfect mix. And when you just have one person writing them, you can't get that perfect mix of things. I do find it interesting. Legacy of Vader is one that draws me towards the comics. I think
you'd enjoy Legacy of Vader. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy it.
I enjoyed. What was the other Kylo Ren
Rise of
Kylo Ren? That was great. I really enjoyed that. So if it's anything along those lines, I really think that would be cool. Drew, you got any thoughts on the comics of 2025? I know you didn't get to all of them, but you got to a bunch of the High Republic stuff.
Yeah, and like we said before, the High Republic ones have been pretty solid. They wrapped up the series with its own little one-shot for the Beacon, which was a nice little kind of, cap onto everything. Other than that, nothing really. The Edge of Balance series is interesting, and I liked it a lot. I'd like to see that kind of continue as well. It struggles with the time jump aspect of things, where what you would roughly call the Phase 2 entries of the manga series are nearly required reading. Like without knowing what Phase 2's Edge of Balance entries are about, oh boy, that's hard to go to Phase 3, because if you don't know who Aslan Rel is when he's introduced, when Yoda walks him into the holy cow, like that means so much more when you've read those different comics. And I do like that, bringing the Phase 2 information into the Phase 3 comic series like that, or rather into the books from the manga, because that makes it almost not indispensable, but certainly much more valuable in time to spend reading that. And they take you could burn through these things in 30 minutes. It's not a tough read. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I recommend those to anybody who wants to know if you were surprised by Aslan Rel showing up. You didn't have to be. That was your decision.
Yeah, that's fair. Speaking as somebody who made that decision, it very much felt like when he showed up, it very much felt like when she took her mask off in Solo. Why am I blanking on?
Yeah. Holy cow.
Oh my god, what is her name?
We all are Star Wars fans. Yes, Emphas Nest took her mask off in Solo.
Yeah, there you go.
Where it was like, is she supposed to be somebody?
Should we know more about this than we do?
Yeah, I was like, is there something that I missed? Except for in High Republic, it's... I don't want to say it's par for the course, but it happens consistently where it's like, oh, okay, this is... You just kind of... I think as a High Republic reader, at least for me, this is my experience, like, I became aware of, like, okay, cool, this is obviously a reference to something that happened in the comics that I haven't kept up with, you know? And I kind of just assumed it was that, and assumed that he wasn't going to be as important of a character as he was, and, you know, then it's like, okay, I'm just going to accept that his backstory happened without you playing it out in this particular medium. So that's another rant for another day. Overall, good to hear that they did the comics well. We also had some really cool events and announcements and things that came in 2025. We, of course, had what might have been my favorite weekend of the year, which was the 20th anniversary re-release of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
that was great. Yeah. We got Celebration Japan, which we all assumed was going to be irrelevant and became much bigger than we expected, with Mando and Grogu teaser trailer coming out, the Maul Shadow Lord announcement, the Starfighter announcement, and then just recently we got the Fate of the Old Republic and the Old Sebulba Racer game that got announced.
I'm here for the Old Man Sebulba. Let's go.
Yes.
Yeah. Other than Old Man Sebulba, we'll eliminate the fact that the greatest pilot in the galaxy lived into old age. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't think Sebulba's the best. Obviously, it's Hera. I'm just really going to try to get people riled up on this one. At the Drew Brett on Threads and Insta Talk.
There will be no responses.
Yeah. I know.
There are no social medias left besides Facebook, and even that's scary.
Yeah, that's of all the places to hang around, that's the one you chose. Just kidding, guys. Go to our Facebook group. It's a lot of fun.
It's that or Reddit.
Yeah. Oh, where aren't the Nazis? So what was y'all's favorite announcement from the year, or announcement / event from the year 2025? Because for me, like I said, it was definitely getting to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. I got to see it back-to-back days. Went to the same theater, sat in the same seat, had the same showtime.
Wow.
It was the best deja vu of all time. But that was, I've talked about before, that was the last movie that I didn't have a vivid memory of seeing in the theaters. And so getting to actually now know, like, and remember the experience of going to see every Star Wars movie in the theater is a great feeling to have. So that capped my year there. Also extremely excited about Maul Shadow Lord, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. So for you guys, what stood out as like the best announcement or event of 2025?
Devore, do you have an instant reaction?
I think mine also will probably be the Revenge of the Sith re-release, because I just think like it's just fun to be able to see a Star Wars movie in theaters, like on the big screen,
Yeah.
especially one that you already have like a relationship to, like Revenge of the Sith, and even that was not last year was Phantom Menace. Yes, when they did that,
Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, when they did that for the 25th, that was also a lot of fun. So I think that was just it was great being able to see this movie that obviously I've seen like so many times in the in the 20 years then, but like it has literally been 20 years since I've seen it on a giant screen. So that was really great.
That's awesome.
Drew, what stood out for you?
I think in terms of impact, that it has to be the Mandalorian and Grogu teaser trailers that we've gotten. Not that it's my most exciting thing, because you already knocked out Galactic Racer, so how dare you? I can't, like, so in context, Fate of the Old Republic gets announced at the Video Game Awards show, or whatever it's called these days. And that makes sense. Another trip to the Old Republic, kind of a large-scale, open-world, MMO kind of thing, something like that. Who knows what it's going to be? But another racing game was not on anybody's bingo card. There have been a number of racer games over, not a high, you have the classic N64 Episode 1 Racer. You had Episode 1 Bombad Racers, I think, on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And that may be it. So you're talking about a gap of more than 20 years since the last time anybody's put time. Like, the racer games have gotten re-released and kind of, we have it on the Switch now, which is great. But to get an updated one in universe, kind of I think it's even post Rise of Skywalker.
It's post Battle of Jakku, because they're in the graveyard.
Yeah. Okay. So somewhere in the timeline, these guys are going to sit down and race from planet to planet, and I think that's really exciting. Like, that's the kind of like difference. Even it's hard to praise it for being so different and so interesting and so surprising, even though it's like a sequel to a game that's 25 years old. So
yeah,
but coming out of left field is really good. Now, compare that to the Mandalorian and Grogu information we have so far, which is shockingly little. As far as official information, perhaps there's been more that's been spoiled or broken over in the dark corners of the internet. But like we said before, we don't play over there anymore. I really want this to be good. I don't have a high degree of confirmation it's gonna be. This is kind of a make or break for Dave Filoni in my mind. It's like, if this isn't like Andor season 2 quality levels of just entertaining and like,
wow,
I don't know that he's had a good new idea since Mando season 1. Like, I loved the second season of the show, but so much of season 2 rode on the coattails of other things coming in, right? Ahsoka shows up. Boba Fett shows up. The Mandalorians start showing up. Bo-Katan starts coming back into the fold. Season 2 ends with the return of Luke Skywalker. So I'm really concerned that the ideas for what you're going to do with Din Djarin and his new adopted baby boy, what can they do in this movie that is going to make it relevant and interesting and gripping and entertaining, and where, I already hate to say, where do they go from there? But like, it's very hard to imagine a season 4 of a show where you just came off of an interstitial TV series in the Book of Boba Fett and then a movie. Like, what are we doing? This is gotta be the end of the Mandalorian storyline. So I don't think he's gonna make it out of this one alive. But like, come on, what happens after this, right? You have to have.
I think we're getting more Mando and Grogu movies. I think.
Oh no!
This
really?
is.
You think this is like the new?
I think
trilogy?
It really depends on like how it lands. Like, if it's a big dud, then we don't. If it's
But we have
$1 billion like honeypot, then like, yeah, we'll get that until the end of time.
We have exactly as much information for this film as we did Skeleton Crew pre its release. And the things we have include AT-ATs on snow planets, Hutts fighting one another in some kind of gladiatorial arena, and new pilots. So tell me if that doesn't sound like everything we've seen in Star Wars in the past 5 years from the Mandalorian universe, except for the Hutts. I haven't really seen the Hutts lately.
I don't think... Look, I don't think this is going to be a groundbreaking movie, and I don't think anybody's going into it thinking it's going to be a groundbreaking movie.
But I kind of need it to be, is my issue.
I hear what you're saying. 100% I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Devor.
No, I was going to say, I agree with Drew on
Rarely.
that, like... No, I do agree with you on that, but, like, I agree with you, like, that, like, of all the Star Wars projects, like, this is not the one to really kind of mystery box, and they're doing it, and I don't understand why.
Right.
Because, like, it is the first Star Wars movie in 6 years that's going to be in a theater, and like you're really kind of re-inaugurating, you know, the kind of theatrical era of Star Wars. Like, you got to get butts in seats, and so it's like, you got to tell me what this movie is like. That's where I remember, like, what is this movie about?
What is it about?
Like, what is it about?
Yeah.
Like, nobody knows. We don't know what this movie's about.
Is it too soon for us to know what it's about, though? I mean, it's January. It comes out end of May.
No,
you know,
I mean, like,
we're talking May 22nd.
Do we know who the villain is? Do we know what the villain is? Do we know, like, what is the nature of the conflict? Like, if you were to take the average...
Okay, but also, let me play devil's advocate here. If we knew all that, we would be sitting here talking about all of that for months. And then we get the expectations of who is Snoke. And then the movie is damned for a letdown, right? So, like, I don't know if I agree with what I'm saying right now. Like, I haven't spent enough time to think about what my opinion on it is, but just playing devil's advocate of it is maybe they are playing the mystery box angle of things to not let us build up this movie in our heads to then be let down, because they know that it is, you know, just an adventure movie. It's just like, if I was to spitball it, like, I want it to be them taking down the Shadow Council and all of that stuff, you know, or something like that. I don't know that it's going to be that.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some, you know, heist that goes wrong, that they have to infiltrate the Empire, and so Zeb comes along to be the rebel confidant, and, you know, all of these. Like, I think it's going to be a very basic Star Wars premise. And maybe that's what they're trying to not let us build this one up in our heads, not oversell it, because then you get the Last Jedi Solo situation when it comes to Starfighter, where they bragged about The Last Jedi as going to be the best Star Wars movie of all time. This is going to be new and innovative and da-da-da-da. And then people built up expectations after how great The Force Awakens was, and some people were let down by The Last Jedi. Do we want the same thing happening with Starfighter, where we build up Mando and Grogu, people become let down, and the next Star Wars movie faces the brunt of that downfall? You know, I don't know.
It is a difficult balance to strike. There's no doubt about that. And none of us are movie producers, and we don't know how this stuff works in the ins and outs. All of that, fair play, right? Wonderful caveats to make sure we know. I think that if you don't know what a movie's about, like, if you don't know why you would go see it, like, if you're not a Star Wars fan, and you're not, you know, what are we? We're an hour plus deep into what happened in 2025. If you're still with us, then you're going to go see this movie no matter what, right? There's nothing...
Yeah, right.
Yes.
But when I have conversations with people, like when Rogue One came out, after Force Awakens, but before The Last Jedi, people would ask, be like, well, is this the same character from The Force Awakens? Like, this is what happens next. And it's like, well, no. Actually, it goes back in time another, 30-something years to the beginning of the building of the Death Star. This one comes out in between episodes 6 and 7, but after all the different TV shows have happened. So all the TV shows having happened in chronological order within the universe, we know that Thrawn has arrived back in the galaxy. And Ahsoka has, yeeted herself out of this one. So...
But let me ask you, do we know that?
Isn't that what Ahsoka season 1 ended with? Like, he shows back up and he's like,
Yes.
time to rule.
Yes, but do we know that? Like, do we know that Thrawn's shown up at this point yet? Or could this happen before Ahsoka season 1?
This is kind of the crux of my issue. Is like
exact. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like, we don't know.
Is this because the last time we saw Mando, he was kicking back at his home on Grief Karga's planet, whose name I've forgotten. Having retired after getting Moff Gideon off, the Mandalorians have recovered the planet Mandalore and are looking to repopulate. And that's kind of the end of it. There's no other outsized threat yet, except for what we know from Ahsoka. And we know that Ahsoka at least takes place after the second season of Mandalorian, if not at the same time as the third season. So, to me, it seems reasonable that Thrawn is the threat that appears on screen. That will do nothing for the general audience. It will do nothing. They will have no idea what that means. They will have no idea who this blue dude is. And, he doesn't have a lightsaber. So there's no Jedi to fight. So he's not a Vader.
We've got zombies, because he's bringing zombies with him.
I've forgotten about the zombie army. Guys, Ahsoka season 1 is just so bad.
You shut your damn mouth.
You've missed me so much.
I have.
But my concern is, if you track with all the stuff that they come out with on Disney Plus, and it's not Thrawn, it's something else, and it's something different, and suddenly you're like, wait, I missed, did we resolve that already? Instant confusion. If it is Thrawn, your general public audience who goes to see this movie thinking, oh, it's Star Wars, it's cute, it's fun, it's going to have no idea what's going on. So I am very concerned about this film. The way you can solve that is to give us some information about it. Give us a 2.5-minute trailer, You think back to like when Endgame was released, you have basically most of the heroes. The trailer for Endgame is most of the heroes coming together to solve some kind of infinite problem. We know there's a big problem, and that's it. That's it. You don't get a lot of information, but you know who's on board, you know what's going on, and you know what the real problem is. Just tell us what's going on. Like, are we talking about a clone emperor coming back? Because that would be an original storyline. No, it would not. Is it Shadow Council stuff? Is it more, militaristic combat? Or is there some kind of force-using issue out there? It's just so clouded and unknown. And I worry about that. Because you watch the teasers that are out there, and you see the couple scenes that they have. You see Sigourney Weaver shows up. I don't even know if she says the words out loud. She's probably going to be in this movie for like 30 seconds, and that's it. So it is the most interesting. This is all going back to the original question of what's the most interesting thing that was announced in 2025. Certainly, this movie is the most interesting, but not the most confidence-inspiring thing.
That's fair. I mean, there's definitely, I think, a lot of legwork to do in either direction. Like,
they just don't know how to explain things yet. Like the problem with Skeleton Crew, they didn't know how to explain that show. The problem with Ahsoka.
I was just about to say, it feels a lot like that.
It's the same
where
thing.
We're going, I don't know what the point is. Now, we got a great outcome with Skeleton Crew, so maybe we get a great outcome with Mando and Grogu, right? Like,
how many of those episodes did we go, like, looking at like side information, trying to figure out questions we wanted to have answered that the story wasn't actually interested in telling, right? The story doesn't care about when it takes place, really, in the chronology. It's interested about the boys getting home, right? But the three of us are like, okay, but is this, post-fall of the Empire? Is this rise of the Empire? What are we talking about here? And so I just worry about the things that us level nerds are interested in, plus what the general public is going to be interested in, are so far apart. Meeting in the middle is going to be tough.
It's going to be, it's going to be a challenge. And I think, like, it's kind of like in a way, it's a Force Awakens situation for me, where, like, I think it was a mistake for them to start by making episode 7, because there was no way they were going to make everybody happy with what they were going to do with the big 3. But also, what do you do when you acquire Star Wars other than make episode 7, because nothing else had been done before, right? So it's kind of like, what do you do as your next big project that you're guaranteed to make money? Well, it's not necessarily putting out Starfighter because nobody knows anything about that. It's putting out a property that you have that's guaranteed. Like, I think them releasing this movie guarantees them 350 to $500 million at the box office.
Certainly.
Now, is that good enough for what they want? I don't know. I don't know what their goals with this movie are. But yeah, I think there's a lot of consternation. There's a lot of confusion around what this movie is going to be. But at the same time, I think it's very clear what they're trying to accomplish with this movie, right? They're not trying to accomplish anything other than getting your butt in the seat and watching the movie. Whether you like it or not, right now is kind of irrelevant to them. I think if they're going to make the money off of it, and then whatever outcome, if people like it, they'll make more money off of it. If people don't like it, they'll go, okay, we made some money off of it. We recovered some losses that we lost on streaming. Now we can continue going with these other Star Wars movies and do what our plan was anyways, right? It's like, it kind of doesn't matter, in my opinion, or in my summation, like what the outcome is, because they're really just trying to make money with this movie. Is that inherently bad? No,
it's not great,
it's that was exactly, you took the words right out of my mouth. Is it how we should be handling things? Probably not. Probably
not from those of us who appreciate it from like a storytelling perspective and from like, all the different the positives, the artistic endeavors, but marrying art and profit, it's always gone well in the past, right?
Not always great. Well,
that's why there's 37 Fast and Furious movies, right?
I think there's 39 at this point. But like, I think back to like when Last Jedi came out, and like not looking at the trailers, and Force Awakens and not really looking at trailers and stuff. I would not do that with this movie.
Yeah.
Because I have so much concern of, like, I would walk in with anxiety over, is this movie going to be worth my time versus like, is this movie going to be good? So I do want them to start releasing some stuff. I personally think it's a little too soon for us to freak out about them not releasing stuff.
All right.
But that's just me. So that kind of covers our movies for 2026. So that was a good 15-minute transition segue for you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about shows, because this is the thing. There's 2 shows coming out, and there's one I'm pretty dadgum excited for. I'm not gonna lie. Maul Shadow Lord comes out, and then they're doing like the Visions of the Ninth Jedi thing.
Wow.
No, I actually am excited for the Ninth Jedi, but obviously Maul Shadow Lord kind of takes the cake as the big release that's coming out this year as far as Star Wars TV goes. Drew, I don't really know that I've talked to you about where you stand on this Maul animated show coming out. Where are you at?
I have no excitement level on this one at all. Let me ask you a couple questions, because I don't really know a lot about it, and you can kind of help. Maybe this will help. Is this like a 23-minute episode series, or is this a series of shorts?
Yes.
Okay.
No, this is a full like Rebels Clone Wars style. I don't know if it's going to be 22 episode things, but it is going to be 22, 23 minute episodes.
Well, wasn't like the Bad Batch seasons like 15 and 16 episodes somewhere?
They were like 15, 16 episodes, something like that.
So
it varied.
And we expect it to roughly fall into that same format, is that right?
Probably.
Do we know?
Yeah. I'd say we're getting somewhere between 12 to 20 episodes per season, depending on the story they're telling.
And given the name, wait, hang on, where is it? Shadow Lord. What is this taking? I hate to keep asking the same questions of like what's going on, but really, it's my mindset.
No, but like that is a very valid question in the state of Star Wars.
He has died, come back with spider legs, lost the spider legs, came back from that, died again, wasn't really dead, came back, was ruler of Mandalore for a while, disappeared, shows up as a crime syndicate lord for some reason, and then dies on Tatooine. So the man's got some history, but what story do you think this will tell? I'm just curious to know.
So this is going to be they've actually come out with way more information about this than they have Mando and Grogu.
That drives me up the wall.
Yeah. So basically, this is going to take place right after season 7 of Clone Wars.
Okay.
And it's going to be his rebuilding of Crimson Dawn and his like crime syndicate leading up to Solo. And there is something about training an apprentice that looks like Darth Talon.
Darth Talon, the
yes.
red and black Twi'lek.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So whether that is going to be the canon version of Darth Talon or just a vague reference to that character is unknown, but leaked images have shown a Darth Talon character alongside Maul.
I mean, at least Maul is an interesting character who you don't really know what he's going to do in situations. He's just the right level of crazy to be fun to watch. So that is exciting, I suppose. Do we have kind of like a release window? Fall, spring, summer, winter? That's all 4 of them.
I think we're thinking like spring, summer.
Okay.
Okay. Especially with like, I think Ahsoka will probably come out November, December time.
True.
But we don't have any confirmation of that, so that's like not why it's not on our list, because we, as Devora referenced earlier, like we don't really know when that's coming out. But this is kind of the big release that they've guaranteed this year. So I'm thinking, kind of your middle of the year, maybe start at May 4th kind of thing, and through the summer. So we'll have to see on that. I know I'm really excited about it because I love Maul as a character. He's one of my favorite characters.
Oh, neat.
I really look forward to more stories with him. Drew, like you said, he's kind of just enough crazy where it's like, it's not so unpredictable that his decisions don't make any sense, but it is unpredictable enough where you can't jump to any conclusions with the decisions that he's going to
make. He's certainly not a safe character, and I like that, and it makes it interesting to watch, because you're like, okay, I can see why this is the way his brain operates, because he's this broken, shattered, psyche that's been rebuilt time and time again. He probably wouldn't recognize himself 5, 10, 15 years ago in his own life, which is really would be a lot of fun to see him kind of deal with his own particular path,
And I think there's a chance that we get that, because honestly, if this hits and they decide to make multiple seasons of this, there's a chance it goes all the way to the start of his discovery on Malachor in Rebels. Yeah. We could get the Kira, content that we want. We could get, him with Dryden Voss. We already know they have at least the animatics for Dryden Voss. There's a lot of storytelling potential here of things that we've wanted for a while, that if they get this season 1 right and are able to continue it for, let's say, 3, 4, 5 seasons, that we have a lot of runway to play with this character in a time, we've complained a lot about, it's always the rebels versus the Empire and stuff like that, right? And we're kind of tired of that timeline. This is a way to use the timeline that we have without getting stuck in the same rotary that we just continually, play in. And you know what I mean? Like, we can, sure, this is the rise of the Empire, the dark times time, but like, we're not really dealing with the Empire as far as we know in this series. He's certainly not helping a Rebel Alliance be built. This is from what we know, season 1, Maul on a planet rebuilding Crimson Dawn. And I think they'll wrap up season 1 in one that leaves some things, to where it's like, if they don't continue it, they can tell it in comics or books. But if they do continue it, we can get, more of those stories down the road. So I think that's what excites me about it the most, is like, as important as of a character as Maul is, this is kind of a low stakes show where if it goes wrong, we can kind of say like, all right, cool. That didn't work. There's not a lot of weight on it. But if they land it, it's penny slots, you hit the jackpot on that, and you're making, you're turning $60 into $1,800 versus, trying to play high stakes poker, which I think like a Mando and Grogu is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
So yeah, I'm feeling really good about this show. I feel good that Sam Witwer has a lot of pull in this show because I think he understands the character really well. And even in the points of Star Wars where I disagree with him, like I can understand his perspective. It's very thought out, very, very logical. So I'm glad they're letting him have some pull in this show. And just overall, I think it's going to be worth our time.
Good.
To at least continue exploring.
Good.
So.
I'm glad to hear you so excited about it, and with all the information about it. Like that is an encouraging thing, and if only we could have that for some of the other entries we've talked about tonight. You know, I genuinely think that's good, and that makes me more excited about it and much more likely to actually watch it when it's released. So I appreciate that.
Well, and that goes back to your point earlier of like giving some information is better than just letting it just sit out there and wait. So
absolutely.
So Devore, where do you come down on Shadow Lord?
I'm looking forward to it. Like I always, I love me a new animated project. I love that the little bits of like official things that we've seen from this, like that, like art and things that we're showing at Celebration, at least hint that we're going to be getting a kind of unique animation style, that we're not going to just get like straight copy paste of Clone Wars Season 7, but maybe we'll have something kind of like adjacent to that, but still kind of different, which will be good. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be interesting just from like a storytelling point of view to see like how they're going to do a show in which your protagonist is a villain.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Because like you think about like Book of Boba Fett, which was also centered on a character who's historically been an antagonist,
right?
And the way that they did that was to not make him a bad guy anymore. But you can't do that with Maul because there's more story later down the road.
Yeah,
in which
you
he's
need
still
him to be a bad guy.
He still needs to be evil. And I've written a little something that's going to show up on the website at some point related to Master of Evil, where I talk about like that stories in which your central character or villain are hard to tell. It's just really hard to do. And that's why you see like, I mean, like in the book context, you see all sorts of different like devices that are used to tell these stories in ways to make them interesting, as opposed to like a straightforward like your villain is your POV character. But in this case, like literally, he will be, presumably. So I'm interested to see like what the storytelling angle is, and like what kind of like beyond just like him watching him kind of build up his criminal syndicate and become this like crime lord, like what kind of story is he going to be given, like what journey is he going on, like as an individual, because like the ceiling is kind of low, like he still has to be a certain person at the end of all this. So yeah, I'm eager to see how they pull that off.
That's true, because doesn't he has to be like the wandering old man with the hood underneath?
Yeah,
well, like
Rebels,
underneath the planet level or something weird. Malachor is a very strange thing. Yeah, it's gonna be weird.
It's gonna be interesting.
What odds do you think, Brandon, that they give him a love interest?
Oh, like 0.
Aw. Even Mauls get lonely.
Yeah, he might be,
even
I don't
Shadow
think
Lords need love.
even Shadow Lords, maybe even Shadow Lords deserve love, but I don't know if they get love. Let's give some love to the Ninth Jedi. I know that was a standout for everybody in season 1 of Visions. The sequel to it was one of my favorites of volume 3 of Visions. And now I feel like that was kind of a setup for this series that we're getting. So
yeah, certainly.
Drew, where do you come down on your excitement level for this? Because it sounded like you weren't too crazy about the sequel.
I have to go back and maybe refresh my memory on what the volume 3 entry was like or about, because I don't quite remember. I know that I've seen it because I can look at my little play bar and it tells me I've gone all the way through it. But yeah, the first entry from volume 1, from its original release, was great and garnered a lot of positive reaction. So I'm very excited that something like this gets picked up and taken in a new direction. This is exactly what we wanted out of Visions when it started, right? We wanted these to be springboards for storytellers to come in and do something completely different and give them an opportunity to tell a story that hasn't been done before. We've had a couple books, we've had a couple manga series released to pick up some of these stories. And to see direct sequels like this is interesting. It's good to know because that tells us that the first ones were as good as we all wanted them to be, and there was as positive reaction as there was. But also B, it allows them to go forward and do more, right? It's so encouraging to see them when they get to tell a new story and it clicks and it works and we get more of that. So yeah, I'm up for whatever they want to do. Again, no details, nothing about it. Don't remember what the storyline's going on at the moment. But again, for this aspect, I don't need to, and there's a difference why. When you compare this to the lack of information and the frustration with Mando Grogu to the Ninth Jedi series, knowing little is fine in the Ninth Jedi series context because it's intended to be new and different. So giving us information isn't going to really help us understand or anticipate what's going to happen because it's going in a new and different direction anyway. So I can appreciate that. I like the fact that we're taking these kind of weird spin-off shows and bringing them into, I guess, what you would call a more mainstream Star Wars pipeline, perhaps. I don't know that every episode of Visions Volume needs to have its own full-fledged multi-episode installment series like this. I think that's probably not the way to go. But knowing it's available to these creators is encouraging already. And so I want it to be good. I hope it will be good. I think it'll be pretty good. Ninth Jedi got some pretty good support when it was released. The manga retelling. I think there's a Golden Book version of the story out there.
Really?
Yeah, like that one and the TOB1 story.
Yeah.
Got their own Golden Book releases, which is pretty neat. So it's coming around, and it was genuinely one of the most surprising. Like I remember when they turned on all their lightsabers and they were red, just gasping. I was like, "Oh my goodness, they got me!" Like it worked. So they know what they're doing. These storytellers know what they're doing, and I'm glad they're being given an opportunity to continue with it. So yeah, bring it on. Absolutely.
Devore, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like, again, this, we've gotten obviously a lot of Vision storytelling over the last couple of years. Like, this is going to be a kind of new form in the sense of like we're getting this sort of, I guess the best you could call is like a special in the sense of like it's going to be longer than your typical Visions episode, but it's not like a 2.5 hour movie. So it might be like a 60 to 90, or maybe like even shorter than maybe like 45, 50 minute kind of like extended story or something like that. So something kind of in the middle in between like your classic television episode and like a longer form movie. So that's going to be new. I think there's also, I think they also announced that they're going to be doing one in the sort of Ronin story, but I guess that is probably not coming out in 2026. I think.
No,
but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think like, we talked we talked a little bit about, Brandon, you and I on our volume 3 episode where like I think Child of Hope feels like a very classic like second chapter of the story in the sense of like in order to go the story to go to like A to C, you have to go through B, and like it sort of very much feels that way. Like it doesn't feel like it's kind of breaking ground in the way that like something like the first Ninth Jedi story did. Like it feels like a classic, like we have to like this is the next chat, like this is the next page when you turn the page in the book, and this is what happens. But I still think that like it ends at a point where you're like, oh, okay, like she's going on to like like greater deeds await, like adventures await out there, and presumably this special is going to kind of pick up on that, and so I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Do we know when this is supposed to be released? I think I may have already even asked that question.
No, I don't think so.
No. Just definitely coming out this year so
sometime.
I guess we'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, that's it on the shows. We do not have as many shows coming out as Drew referenced earlier in the episode.
Man.
That's pretty much it on the shows. Books wise, though, we also don't have a lot coming out.
Trapped by your own sentence structures.
No, I 100% knew where I was going with that. The thing is, like, we don't have a huge project like the High Republic going on, right?
Yeah.
To where we have these markers that we have to hit. So we've got Low Red Moon coming out, which is a part of the Outlaws game universe situation. I think that's the first book coming out this year. Then we have Eyes Like Stars, which is apparently forgetting that Lost Stars is a romance novel and labeling itself as the first romance novel in Star Wars. We have the book that nobody is surprised that I am the most excited about, which is Legacy, which is the Leia and Rey book. That I will be... I think that comes out in June or July, so I will be just reading that straight through over the summer. And then we have Reign of the Empire's sequel, Edge of the Abyss. So those are our 4 releases book-wise that we have thus far. And let's talk about why everybody's super excited about Low Red Moon. All right, everybody go.
Everybody who's played Outlaws.
Sexy Commando Droid.
Yeah.
Sexy Commando Droid. Okay, well, there we go. That's our coverage of Low Red Moon. Hear more on Don't Burn the Sacred Text. No, what? So Legacy is the one I'm looking most forward to. You put Leia and Rey on the cover. Tell me there's going to be some Jedi training going on. I'm there for it.
Put it in a cave, and we know that you're just gonna die in this one.
Oh yeah, no, I will. If you guys don't hear from me for a while,
there must have been a cave
in June and July. Yeah. Yeah, Brandon's in a cave. What are you guys excited about on? We can even let's throw comics in here too, because we've got Jar Jar. Okay. We've got Shadow of Maul, which is the prequel of the Shadow Lord series. We have hyperspace stories about Grievous. We have High Republic Adventures Pathfinders, and we have a Visions Tsukumo or something of that nature coming out. So publishing wise, we've got just a few things. Legacy still stands for me as the thing to be looking most forward to. For you, Devore, what, knowing that you're going to read and listen to all of this stuff, what are you most looking forward to in 2026?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is like of these, it's Legacy for sure, because like you said, it's Rey, it's Leia, it's them training. Give it to me now. I'm interested to see what they do with Eyes Like Stars, because like you talked about the branding of this, and like when they announced Eyes Like Stars, I think it was, I want to say New York Comic-Con, one of the Comic-Con.
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think it was New York Comic-Con. You know, you mentioned how it has a Star Wars romance novel branding on it. And when they announced it at the Lucasfilm Publishing Panel, they talked about that this is a first entry in a new genre initiative that they're doing in Star Wars publishing, where they're going to be putting out these books that have these like explicit genre slots. So like that's why you get the branding of a Star Wars romance novel in a way that like Lost Stars is not called a Star Wars romance novel, even though it is a Star Wars novel that has a lot of romance in it, right? So I'm interested in like
Crash of Fate, guys. Go read Crash of Fate.
Go read a Crash of Fate. Don't make me yell.
Never heard of it.
I've yelled about it on so many podcasts. But I'm interested to see like them going in this way of like explicitly tagging certain books in genre and saying like this is a Star Wars blank novel, like in this case romance. I'm interested, one, to see like what they do in the future in this. Like, are we going to get a Star Wars mystery novel, a Star Wars horror novel, right? Like where are they going to go with this? But then I'm also just interested to see what this
a Star Wars Western novel. They've never done that before.
That would be new ground.
But I'm also in particular with this one because like we have it and it's coming and we know what it's going to be. Is like it's interesting to see like is the branding in any way reflective of the storytelling that we get? Like, is this going to feel different from Lost Stars? Right? Like, is there a difference between a Star Wars romance novel and a Star Wars novel that has romance in it?
Oh my goodness, so complicated.
So I'm interested to see that, like, if in any way, like, this feels like a qualitatively different Star Wars book because they've gone so explicitly to be like, this is a Star Wars romance novel, or does it still feel like any other Star Wars novel that has like a Lost Stars, a Crash of Fate, a Dark Disciple, a Star Wars novel that has romance elements to it?
Yeah, I wonder how far they're going to lean into the genre.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a really good point.
And this,
Because
and
go
we
ahead.
also have the element of the author Ashley Poston. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but like she's totally new to Star Wars. Like when they announced her, I was like, oh, is this like a fact pop person? They were like, no, she has written.
Wow.
She's done like other IP, like she's done some stuff in Marvel, but like she's done nothing in Star Wars.
Huh.
So like brand new, like not even like short stories and like Insider or whatever, right? Like totally new. So that's going to be also really interesting to see, like getting like a really, really fresh perspective on Star Wars.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really cool. I think, again, this is one of those like risks that they can afford to take, right? Because if this doesn't land and they realize, okay, maybe labeling it as like a certain genre is not like the right way to go, and we just let it be a Star Wars book, you know, they learn a lesson there. Maybe we get the second coming of Lost Stars, you know, like there's. We didn't really know much about Claudia Gray before we read Lost Stars. You know, she'd never done anything in Star Wars before. She hadn't, as far as I know, hadn't really done a lot of IP work before. Like a lot of her stuff was her trilogies and vampire books and things of that nature. You know that. But she had the skill set as a writer. She was proven as a writer. I personally don't know anything about this author. So maybe she comes in and pulls a Claudia Gray and is the next great one. Like, I don't think we need to necessarily have them in a short story format as testing ground first to be like a guarantee that they're going to write a good book. And I'm not saying you're saying that, DeBoer. I'm just saying you know, I think if they have proven that they can write a good book, let them write a Star Wars book. You know, that's a thing about the books and comics. They are low stakes. If, you know, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Twilight Company. I just don't. It's just not a book that I care about, and I moved on with my life, you know, because I didn't invest. You don't like, you invest time in it, but you're not investing the time and energy you are in a TV show where you're stopping everything for hours at a time to watch The Acolyte, right? So I think that taking a risk here is okay. And even like doing things, you know, I kind of like that they're getting into, hey, here's a book that goes with this video game and here's a book that goes with this show and stuff, like they did with kind of like Catalyst and stuff. Even if, you know, I'm not, you know, as excited about Low Red Moon because I don't know anything about Outlaws, I'm still like, okay, cool, maybe this is something that will get me interested in those characters. So I think them providing new entry points through the books for people to get into Star Wars, I think is going to be really, really interesting. So I think there's a lot of potential there. And then of course they're feeding those of us who are the uber nerds with like Legacy and Shadow of Maul and stuff like that. So Drew, what are you most looking forward to in publishing? Because your time becomes more and more limited, so you got to be very selective about what stories you're
that is true
committing time to. Is there one on this list that you're really like, I'm going to, as much as possible, shut things down and make sure I consume the story?
I will probably take that approach with Legacy out of the options here. I would like to, like we kind of mentioned in our High Republic revisiting conversation, to get into the High Republic Adventures comic series. The last of those omnibus collections should be coming out in the coming months, I think in June or so. So it would be a good time to kind of be able to go back and revisit all of those in one fell swoop. Legacy is probably the next textual book that I'd like to get into. I can't say Low Red Moon does anything for me. I can't really say Eyes Like Stars does anything for me. Again, and that's just from not knowing enough about it. I'm sure once you guys get a chance to get through it, you'll let us know whether or not it's something like a genre approach is fine. Legends tried it with some horror novels, if anybody remembers the Death Troopers book, or its deliciously titled sequel, Red Harvest.
Red Harvest was a book that I read.
Yeah, then that is probably the best thing you can say about it, right? I don't really know how genre mixes with Star Wars when it is a genre of its own already. Like, it's so predicated upon the space opera approach to things. When we say romance novel, I don't honestly know quite what that means. Are we talking Twilight romance novels, or are we talking like Pride and Prejudice romance novels? One of them I'd probably read more likely than the other.
Twilight guys was the one he was talking about.
100%. Team Edward all the way. I don't even know what that means anymore. Do kids even read Twilight anymore? Is that a thing, Brandon, that your kids know about in school? Well, you're in middle school now, right?
I don't know. I was going to say, I don't know.
They have an AI
generated. Seen the reporting kids don't read.
Surely somebody out there's got an AI generated summary of the Twilight books they can beam directly into their brains or something. I don't know.
The abridged version of Twilight.
There you go. Nope, still wouldn't do it. I've seen all of the movies. I have seen them all. And so comics. They put Grievous's name on a comic. I'll probably read that. I'd like that. I might even. Okay. Is that like a one-shot issue, or is this like a multi-volume issue? Do we know anything about that?
It's one shot. So it's this like. So they announced ages like a while back. They announced like that they were doing with hyperspace stories. They were doing these one character kind of like longer things. They did one for Qui-Gon Jinn at the beginning of 25. But then it's like been like weirdly like the Qui-Gon got delayed like 6 times, and then it finally came out at the beginning of 2025.
Oh my gosh.
And then the Grievous one is only like the second one is coming out. It's not coming out until like March of 26. So like by the time there's like a couple more of these that have been announced.
There's some Bad Batch that are coming out, right?
Yeah, there's also
is this the same line?
Yeah, Hyperspace Stories. Yeah, has like a couple. Like they're doing like they've done some Bad Batch stuff. They just wrapped up a Poe Dameron one that was really good.
Okay.
So yeah, but they have these like single character focused ones, and they announced a bunch, but it's like no, it could be like an annual thing because I don't think Stancy can get their act.
Oh my gosh!
So Grievous is only the second one. But yeah, and like the Qui-Gon one is like long.
Really?
So I'm imagining the Grievous one will also be, and it was good. I really liked it.
Okay. Well,
so I'm imagining that the Grievous one will similarly be longer.
That gives me some confidence. That gives me some hope. I'm sure it'll be available through the local public library on their digital comic distribution system I've been using before. Every time you guys like mention a comic book, Devore, like that, you're like, oh, this is really good. I instantly will pull up I think it's Hoopla has a really good comics app, and so I'll instantly put it on my favorites list. And one of these days I'll get around to it. I remember reading the Kylo Ren one, not Legacy of Vader, but the other one, Rise of Kylo Ren, perhaps.
Rise of Kylo Ren,
and perfectly serviceable comics. So that's probably it. I would love to have some kind of new initiative announced, like Project Luminous Part 2.
Yeah.
Highly doubt we're going to get something this soon. I hope all of those authors get through well-deserved vacation they're entitled to, but I'd also like them to do it again.
You're like, I've had enough of a vacation. You guys get back to work.
Let's go. Let's keep in mind that by the time Phase 1 was released, they were finishing up like Phase 2 themselves. Like the authors were already so far in advance. So I'd like to believe that out there right now, there's some kind of retreat occurring with 5 to 7 authors, where they've got a whiteboard up and they've already crossed out dinosaurs.
Oh yeah,
we don't have to worry about that. But I hope there's something else like that out there for us to sink our teeth in. I really can't be more proud and have a positive response to the way the High Republic has been handled from top to bottom. Perfect? No, but fantastic? Yeah. Absolutely. And I really 100%. Want them to learn the lesson of that's kind of what there's a certain fan base of us that really does appreciate this long form storytelling. I saw somebody complain that it was like reading the first one, Light of the Jedi, was like reading a book written by committee, and I was like, it was written by committee. Do we not know what's going on here? So I loved it. I would love to see that again. In the meantime, I will definitely put Legacy on my to-release list. Brandon, I'm going to leave it to you to tell me when I can pre-order a copy, I guess. If we get any kind of like advanced readership copy. That's probably on the top there. I'm excited about that now. So I appreciate you letting me know. You've done your service.
The podcast has been worth the time. We got
here we go, like 8 years in, or however long this has been, and we finally figured out the formula.
All right. Well, closing out, we've got the games, and then we'll talk briefly about the 10th anniversary of Rogue One. Zero Company comes out.
Sure.
Okay, cool. And then Sebulba is an old man racer is coming out as well. I think we kind of all agree we're more excited for the racer game and seeing what happens there. I don't know really anything about Zero Company. Is it a mobile game?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. There was a mobile game similar to this that I thought that they had announced that kind of got canned, but I could be wrong on that. So Devore, tell us about Zero Company.
So Zero Company is set in the Clone Wars, which I always appreciate because the particularly like Star Wars video games,
because we don't have enough Clone Wars stories.
No, but Star Wars video games have tended to be very Imperial set. So like you get like the Jedi games and even like Outlaws and things that like tend to be like in this period of like, if not the original trilogy, then we're still like adjacent like Rebels, Empire, and things like that. Yeah. And so it's nice. It's nice to see them do other things. Like even Squadron still is like post Return of the Jedi, but is still like it's New Republic versus the Imperial Remnant, and it's like so it's nice to be getting like into a different era, like in the game space. Even if it's not necessarily like a new era as far as like story, like you said, like we've got a lot more storytelling, and so it follows this group, essentially this like Republic kind of special ops group, I guess is the best way to describe it. And like the game style itself is one that I personally not much play because it's a turn-based tactics game, which you tend to see more in like sort of like war or military style games. So it's not one that I'm like super familiar with. I've like done a lot of playing, but I will check it out because I do enjoy Star Wars games. And then yeah, of course, like Galactic Racer, like hell yeah, absolutely. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's easy. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. So I guess we'll kind of see with the game space. Like games tend to be something I don't think people give much like time towards until they come out, and then it's like, okay, yeah, that was impressive, and then we are fully invested in Cal Kestis and stuff like that, like it's kind of one of those places that it allows for a little bit of surprise, and maybe Zero Company will have some characters that we really cling on to. But then we close out with the 10th anniversary of Rogue One. God. Do we think we're going to get a re-release of the movie?
In theaters, huh? Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well,
they didn't for Force Awakens.
That's true. They did announce that the original trilogy will be released in 2027.
Yep.
Yes.
Or A New Hope.
At least A New Hope. Yeah.
A New Hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, I don't know. Do you think that love for Andor season 2 will carry over enough to warrant
Rogue? Dude.
Like, can you imagine like a last 3 episodes of Andor into Rogue One kind of big screen? That would be so much fun.
That would be incredible.
I'd be down with that.
That would be really cool.
Guys, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on. We want to give you our money.
To pay you.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see.
We've gotten so much Andor.
Hopefully they
in the past year or two already. Like, what else is there to do?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard. I was thinking about that because like for this past year for Force Awakens, we got a couple things that are sort of like tying. Like you got Last Order, which is like sort of related to Finn. You even had comics. You had Hunt for the Falcon, which is still ongoing. And it's been good. But it's like with Rogue One, it's like there's been like you've had the 2 seasons of Andor, you've had Rebel Rising, you've had Catalyst, like that like the Rogue One verse, of like media related to characters that come out of this movie is already so rich. So it's like, who do you do? Like, I mean, we haven't gotten the Bodhi Rook book. Oh, no. I guess like we could.
We did get a Guardians of the Wills book, but it was
Guardians
like not very.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was more like, the Guardians of the Wills happen to be our main characters, not this is what the Guardians of the Wills are, or what their downfall was, or anything like that. So that would be a cool announcement, in celebration of the 10th anniversary, is getting more content around that. But I don't know. Personally, I'm not holding my breath that any of that's going to happen. I think that, even if it does, we maybe get an announcement that that's going to happen around the 10th anniversary, which would be all the way in December.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I forgot about that.
So we've got a ways to go. Maybe throwing Rogue One in theaters for a weekend is a way to get excitement of like getting that ad for A New Hope coming out. I think it's supposed to come out in February because Starfighter comes out in May of 27.
Wow.
So
right, yeah.
What a weird calendar.
So maybe it's like a December Rogue One comes out for a weekend so they can put some promos for other Star Wars movies there. And that's really what they're releasing it for, is just to get that on more screens. And we'll see. We will see, but we will be here to cover it all as it happens throughout 2026. And even as we look forward to 2027 and beyond, because at the end of the day, we critique it. We give our point of view as honestly as we can, but we love this stuff, and we're going to be here talking about Star Wars, whether it's the Star Wars books over on Don't Burn the Sacred Text, Star Wars related media, as Mark talked about on the latest Forever Star Wars that is in your feeds now, whether it's Zach and I talking about more of the business side of things on Sith Talk, or here as we kind of do deep dives into the different content and angles of the story on the main Clashing Sabers show. You got all of that in one feed. Just click that subscribe button, whether you're looking on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. We are there. You, of course, can also find us on social media at Clashing Sabers, everywhere, TikTok, Instagram. And we apparently still have Blue Sky and Threads and things like that I never actually go onto. Look, at the end of the day, guys, social media has become just such a tough thing to try to spend time on. But we want to, again, continue to really spread what we're doing, not so you guys watch the podcast or listen to us, because while we appreciate that, it really all comes down to getting you guys to support that nonprofit mission of putting Star Wars books into classrooms. I can tell you from experience, they are trying to take Star Wars books out of classrooms.
No.
They are trying to do that. It is more important than ever that you guys send us teachers to give these books to, because they are really important stories. They are high interest stories for kids. And so for every book they try to take out, we want to try to put 3 in. You know what I mean? Like, let's do that. So whether you know a teacher, whether you are a teacher, go over to our nominate page. The nomination is literally, it's like, give us their contact information. And honestly, in like, why are you nominating them? You could just put they're a teacher. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm not actually like, oh, am I going to get
not like a vetting process where
books.
we do background checks.
No, we literally just need to know their address to send it to, and an email to let them know, like, hey, you got a random box of books coming from somebody you're not going to recognize. That's us. That's literally the process, guys. I got books in the closet. I haven't been to Half Price Books in a minute. Let me go, guys.
Clean them
Let
out.
me add it. So of course you can find all of that in the show notes and over on our website. Drew, if they want to talk with you in the interspacing time when you're able to actually get online, where
best
can they
place
do
to
that?
do is still on the Clashing Sabers Facebook group, so you can find us over there, post there. I promise you, I'm still hanging around. It's just been, I've got 2.5 more years of school, and it's going to be great, but I'm loving it. So if you want to reach out, post there. Or you could send us an email. Brandon, what's the email address people can send in to?
ClashingSabersNetwork@gmail.com.
So thoughts, agrees, disagrees, likes, dislikes, send us a message. We'll read it and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. And Devore, if they want to see what you're up to, get in touch with you or listen to you on other great shows, where can they do that?
All right, so if you want to follow me on social media, I'm over on Blue Sky at Demondum. You can also listen to me as a co-host on Space Swifties, a Star Wars and Taylor Swift podcast that I host with my wife, the one and only Meg Dowell.
Yes. All right. And as you're listening and as you're thinking about what you're most looking forward to in 2026, as you're making your New Year's resolutions, as you are beginning this new year, let us not forget to focus on what really matters in this world. Sure, we've got friends. Sure, we've got our health. Sure, we've got all that. It's fine. What we really need is batshit.
Hi-ho.
Hi-ho.
A Star Wars story.
A Star Wars story.